Hi, I'm Bruce, and in this video we're going to use 3D Transform to animate the web. So you can see here I've got an element, a little platform that I put inside its own section, and so far the only thing we've got on it is a width and height and a background color. And so what I want to do is I want to add a transform to have it exist in a 3D space. So you can see here we're selecting by ID, so in this case platform, and there's the platform style with the width, height, and background color. So now what I want to do is add that transform, and we will do a rotate, and I'll rotate it, let's do 15 degrees for now, and rotate Z, and we'll do that 15 degrees for now as well. Actually, and this should be rotate X. So we can see here, we've got a little bit of a rotation. So now we can go in and we can start to play with it, giving it more rotation so it looks more like a platform. And kind of maybe something along these lines would be good. And now that we've got that, I'm going to move it over a little bit so we can do translate. And I don't know, maybe 100 pixels for now. I'm just going to type it in here, translate 100 pixels. All right, so just moving it over to the right by 100 pixels. Then to make it look like it's floating, what I'm going to do is I'll first of all add a little bit of border radius to it, just to give it some style. So let's say 16 pixels. And I think I had this at 55 and this at 45 degrees. So now it's looking more like a platform in three-dimensional space, but perhaps what we could do is add a little bit of box shadow or drop shadow to it in order to make it look like it's floating away from the background. So I'm going to come back here. And we'll add, let's start off with just 2 pixels, which is the X offset, and then 2 pixels, which should be the Y offset, and then something like 10 pixels, which should be the spread, and then we'll put in RGBA. We can click on that and then change that to something much brighter. So let's say 204. Upload that. And so you can see we've got a little bit of a shadow around the outside with that's giving it a little bit of dimension. So now if we wanted to add a second shadow that would appear to be on the ground, we could do something like this. So say 24 pixels is the X offset. 24 pixels is the Y offset, 24 pixels is the spread, so how much blur there is, and then we can do RGBA, and we'll do the same one, and then we'll probably set this down to about 75% for the alpha. And notice that I've got a comma to separate the different shadows, so we've got multiple shadows here. Whoa, and 75% is way too high. So now what we'll do is we'll just go and we will put this down something like this. And then if we spread, make it a little bit higher, right, or a little bit lower, right? You guys can figure out where it is that you would like, but this is lifting it off or giving the impression that it's lifted off of the ground or off of the surface of the ground. Okay. So let's, so we got 44s and 25. So now we'll go, and then I'm making multiple selections here by selecting first of all the first one and then hitting Command D or Control D if you're on a PC. Okay, So I think that's looking pretty good. So now what we want to do is when we hover over top of the platform, we're going to translate it, or we're going to move it up a little bit away from the ground, and at the same time we're going to redefine a little bit the box shadow. So let's do a transform. We're going to keep our translate of 100 pixels. And then we're going to translate the Y by, let's say, minus 16, let's say minus 24 pixels. And we'll translate, and then we'll rotate it. And we'll keep the rotation. So those ones the same. So the only thing we're really doing is translating the Y, and then we're keeping the other ones the same. So let's just see how this works. Right. So we can see we've got that movement. We're translating it up. But of course, normally the shadow shouldn't move up with it, so that we're going to have to redefine the box shadow, and we're going to need to add our transition. So let's add that transition now. I'm going to put it for a little bit longer than normal, just so we can see it. So transition, let's put it at 1 second, which will be way too slow. We'll do an ease in and out, right? So we give it some more natural physics. When things move, they usually start slowly. And then finish slowly as well. So now you can see we've got that slow rise for our platform. So let's let's modify the box shadow so that it seems not to move. So essentially, if we've lifted this up by 24 pixels, we should be adding 24 pixels to our box shadow distance from the platform. So let me just copy this. So this one right around the platform should stay the same. And then if this is X and then Y, and we change Y, let's just start this for now. So it's 24. So let's just put 60. And 60. And let's see how this looks. Okay, and then we also will need to add the, you know what, I'm going to put it to 0.5 seconds. Already it seems too slow to me, and I would probably end up putting this to even less for the final. So let's 0.5 seconds. We're going to add the same ease in and out, so that the shadow is also animating, so it doesn't seem to pull away from the ground, and hopefully this will give us a little bit more realistic of a movement. So it still seems to be coming up a little bit. And so maybe what we'll do is we'll add a little bit of a spread, a little bit more spread. So let's bring this down by 10. Right, so just because it's further away, so the shadow or the glow should be less. And then so it's still moving up a little bit, so I'm going to add a little bit to, so I'm going to add a little bit more distance here, so 70 and 70, and I've got the opacity lowered down to 15, so it will get slightly less bright. And now if we hover over, we can see, right, the glow gets a little bit less. It seems pretty still to me without very much movement at all. Maybe we could spread it out a little bit more, but I think this is looking good. I hope this helps, and good luck on the challenge.